Theatermakers Challenge. Places, please. Places, please. Places, please.
Hello, welcome back to day 5. It's our last day together. And yesterday we had a lot of homework, huh? How did you do? Leave messages in the comments about how you did with your homework. What was one thing you learned from Alicia and Roderick yesterday? Okay, so last night I was having trouble going to sleep. And I'm like, and you're like, I don't have any sleep. So I did Alicia's exercise. I imagined drawing in the square. Breathe in, hold it in, breathe out, don't breathe. And I did it. And that's the last thing I remembered because it worked and I fell right to sleep. So let's see. Did anybody have any experiences with their homework that they want to write about in the comments? I want to know your biggest takeaways. Breathe and appreciate, Nicole. Appreciate your body. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember Roderick, right? Like appreciating our body. Let's see. Nobody else has anything they want to share about their homework. Homework taught me the power, Aurora says, homework taught me the power of simple healing meditation with immediate results, manifestation of people I need to see. Oh, I loved that. Meditation. Yeah, I need to like write that down or something. So I don't remember because I don't remember exactly what it was. It was like love in me spread, and then imagining it spread to other people and it coming from here, right? Well, Patrick didn't do so well on the homework because he tried to review Alicia's instructions and got so distracted that he fell asleep. But that's good. That's what happened to me. I fell asleep. And good. Kimberly found the homework to help her to go deeper within herself. Awesome, Kimberly. So now we're going to go to our winner for the giveaway. The winner of the script consult with Eric Webb is Kathy Horrigan. You'll get an email from the TMS team with further instructions. Congratulations, Kathy. Now we are on to our guest. Today's guest is no stranger to the Theatermakers Studio. He is a composer, lyricist, fashioning gothic thrillers, queer paparettas, and high-octane rock into exhilarating new musicals. He's also a Jonathan Larson Grant recipient, Richard Rogers Award winner, Dramatist Guild Fellow, and more. Please welcome to the screen, Ryan Scott Oliver.
Oh my goodness, it is so good to see you, Kerry. How are you?
It's great to see you. How are you?
I love my little press statement that I put on my website, like just came out of your mouth. I love that. If I had known that, I would have probably written something different.
Oh, good. Well, I'm excited to hear what you're going to share with us today.
Me too. I feel like I'm the accountant of the group. I feel like everyone else has been giving like heartwarming, like meditative speeches, and I'm here talking about schedules.
Oh, okay. No, but that's so important for being creative and writing.
Absolutely.
It's like one of the most important things, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, here we go. So this little thing that we're talking about today is called Write on Time. Of course, WRITE, Write on Time. As Kerry said, I'm Ryan Scott Oliver, and we're discussing today the writer's practice. We're creating deadlines and getting to the finish line. I like to think of myself as somebody who gets a lot of stuff done. I made a promise to myself 10 years ago that I would write at least one new musical every year. I've added to that. Also putting out a recording or an album every single year. And then, of course, that doesn't include rewriting 2 or 3 shows every year. And I can only do that by scheduling my time, creating deadlines. I'm a Virgo. If you're a Virgo out there, you probably know. I'm also a type A Virgo. So there you have it. But if you're not a type A Virgo, if you're a type B person, I have some helpful tricks that will make this hopefully painless for you, but also help you get your work done. So a lot of creative people I know, and I'm sure you're out there, start a lot of things, but they don't finish them, right? Especially early on when you're just starting out. And that's unbelievably normal. We get ideas, they spark brilliantly, we get to work, it's super fun for a moment, and then we get stuck and the idea goes into a drawer and we probably don't ever pull it out and finish it. And this is really sad because a lot of writers think that that is because their idea is bad, but their idea is not bad. They don't have bad work ethic. It's actually because writers, like every other person that works here, need a schedule. They need a deadline. They need something to get them to that larger finish line. Another thing is that a lot of writers, because, you know, art is so beautiful and nebulous and great, don't think that they have to have a relationship with time. They don't have to have a real understanding of like what they're able to do as a human being in the time that they've been given. So we have to create deadlines. And it creates accountability. One of the first things one of the most important things I heard really early on in my career, I was the assistant to Marcy and Zena, Taylor the Latte Boy, Ever After, we love them. And I'll never forget Marcy Heisler saying to me about writing, she said, just get to the end. Because only when you get to the end, right, you can actually see what you've written and then go back, hopefully, and do some rewrites. For a lot of writers, for some of us are lucky enough to occasionally have producers and corporations and project managers who are giving us deadlines. But most of the time, regardless of if we're at the top of our career or just starting out, we have to be our own boss. And what's better than being your own boss? But that does mean that you have to give yourself a deadline the way that your boss would in another scenario. If you're a type A person, you totally get this. If you're type B, it's less like this. And that brings us to something that we sort of have to reconcile with when we start talking about scheduling art, which is the two types of writing, generally speaking, a structured writing, right, where you're creating outlines, you're creating schedules, you're creating all that stuff. And the other is organic writing, when you're sitting down and you're just letting it flow freely from you with no expectation of what you're creating or how much you should create or all that good stuff. And I'm not here, that's a whole other talk to talk about the differences, and both of them are absolutely wonderful. But at the end of the day, you know, Chuck Close, is something I think about a lot, is he's quoted as saying, inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us show up and get to work. And you know, if you want to be somebody who is putting out a lot of work, I think everything you write is a lottery ticket because you never know what's going to get you all the way. You never know what's going to sell. So you create as much work as you possibly can. And you can't wait to feel like it sometimes. You know, if you want to be a serious, AKA professional, AKA making money at your art writer, you have to think of it a little bit more like a 9 to 5 than the writing you did when you started. And I hope nobody's cringing. I hope you can appreciate that, because what we do is important and other people are holding us accountable and we have to do it. So let's get started. So with getting organized with our work and our time, Pixar, some of the people who started Pixar wrote a book called Creativity, Inc. Highly recommend it. And in addition to like going through their initial failures and like how difficult it was to get Pixar off the ground, they introduced to me this idea of person hours, people hours, AKA a piece of making one of their films, and like how long it would take one person, how many days, person days, I should say. I think I said person hours. How many days it would take one person to accomplish this thing, or how many people over how many days. And that helps Pixar put out all of the films that they put out every single year for the last like 20 years, right? So we have to start thinking of ourselves as a person who is capable of only so much in a day, but also by multiplying the days is also capable of creating stuff regularly on a schedule. So step one, you have to determine the size of your project. Break the project into smaller pieces. So like in plays and musicals, we're going to think of them as scenes and songs, right? And if your piece doesn't work that way, then I would consider breaking it up into the major beats of action, like the wedding scene or the death scene or the meeting scene or whatever. You could also do units of time, 5 or 10 minutes of the play, or even a page count, 5 pages, let's say. Stephen King famously has a process of writing 10 pages a day, whether that takes him 2 hours or 10 hours. 10 pages, that's his commitment every day. And this, of course, this assumes that you have an outline for your piece, and that's a whole other business class that I'll do, I'm sure, at some point with the Theatermakers Studio, but I highly encourage it, especially for musicals. Step 2, determine how fast you write if you don't already know. So generally, how much can you write when you sit down to focus, gently pushing yourself to the day's a creative end, getting through your well without pushing yourself and just writing a whole lot of crap at the end of the day because you're so tired? How much can you write? So determine that. And I'll share a little bit about my timeline and practice in a second. Number 3, determine how much you have to offer, how much time you have to offer the project, and how many days of the week, what month can you start? So for example, some people write a novel in November, right? Novel November or whatever it's called. And other people are like, my regular year is so crazy, and when it's the summer, that's what I'm going to write. So you're going to have 3 months to write. You're going to establish that timeline. And for other writers that are writing freely and regularly, we write 52 weeks out of the year. We write the entire time. For me, I write 5 days a week, 5 hours a day, which is totally not true because generally speaking, it's like 6 to 7 days a week for like a little bit less time. But I try to commit to 25 hours a week. And over the course of my life so far, that has worked out for me and it has helped me meet my deadlines. But that's a lot of trial and error. And you have to do that if you haven't yet to determine how much time you have to give and when can you give it. Step 4, now calendar your project out. Being real, some days you're not going to get as much done as others. Others you're going to get a lot done. But the compromise to me is not to schedule your work by the day, schedule it by the week. So the month is for focusing on something large. When we're thinking about the week, what I'll do is I'll actually break it up as like September 1, like Roman numeral 1, September Roman numeral 2, September Roman numeral 3, and September Roman numeral 4. A couple months are going to have a 5th week, right? Just depending on arbitrarily what we're looking at with the calendar. And I will say, okay, September 2, I'm going to write this scene and this song, let's say. And I'm just going to assign them to that week. I don't really use a physical calendar. I actually use a list. Like it'll just be like September 1 underline, and then things will be placed underneath that. And I'll keep that as sort of a running list of my things. And once I have the list and I've collected scene 1, scene 2, Sherry's song and the wedding dance and the da-da-da, like all of the little bits and pieces, I'm now going to break that up over the amount of time I've decided to give to this project and how quickly I think I can write it. I also will add buffer time. This is super important. These are weeks to catch up when you inevitably fall behind throughout the process. To me, I will put a buffer week every 4 to 6 weeks, roughly, because I know I'm going to get behind. And at the end, I'm going to always put at least 2 weeks, if I can, maybe a month, just so that I have the time to sort of finish up loose ends, maybe do a read through of it, whatever. So now you're looking at your work by the week. You've done this project, you've done this process, and now you're entering your first week where you said you were going to do something. You're going to write that scene, that song, whatever. So you've laid it all out. And then I will further break down the assignment that I've given myself into smaller parts. So for a song, my process is always a day of sketching. Then it's 2 to 3 days of writing. And then it's 2 to 3 days of finishing the song, notating it, and filling it out, which takes roughly a week. The sketch day is super important because you're brainstorming, you're collecting ideas, but you're not pressuring yourself to finalize anything. You're just having a good time. On the first day of writing, you're actually starting to put things together. And I might say, write a verse and a chorus of the song, lyric and music. Let's say that's my first writing day. And my second writing day, write the rest of the song, whatever. So I'm breaking things down this way. And again, some days I have to take the whole day off and I can't get any writing done. Other days I'm going to cram 2 person days, Ryan days, into one day and hopefully catch up. And of course, again, I'll always fall behind. With calendaring things out, eventually I will put like the song, the scene on the Monday. If I'm going to use a physical calendar, which I, set up my own little way, I'll place the micro project that I'm doing on the Monday of the week, as opposed to plotting it out every single day, especially if I'm handwriting on a calendar, which why? But if you do that, then you get behind, then you have to move like everything. And that's like such a hassle. But if everything's just on the Mondays, then it's just much easier to move things if you get behind and you have to go, you have to sort of reshuffle your schedule. So in this final section, I want to talk about tips and tricks and other factors that come into scheduling our work. So you may have a collaborator. Congrats if you do. Somebody likes you, and hopefully you like them too. If you have a team, whether that is a team of 2, a team of 3, a team of more, much like if you were working for Pixar, everybody has to do the same process. How fast do you write? How much time can you give to this? And how much is there to write when you break the whole thing down? And now collaborators can look at a calendar together and get, while I'm writing a song this week, my collaborator will be writing the scene, let's say. And we're going to write it at the same time. So now something that would have taken me if I was writing book music and lyrics 6 months will now take us maybe 3 months because 2 people are doing the work, right? Obvious. Tips and tricks, golden hours. If you're not familiar with the concept of golden hours, get hip to it. There's a lot of self-study, and it sounds like a lot of the other speakers are really encouraging us to look inside ourselves with this. Your golden hours are the hours in your day when your brain is at its absolute best. It's when you do your best thinking. It's when you have the most energy and spirit to get the things done that you want to get done. For me and most sane, rational people, it's 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. roughly, right? For absolutely insane people, beautiful people that are out there, I know that you're out there. I don't understand you, but you exist. I hear. It's like 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. That's like the night owl that gets all the work done. That's amazing. Congratulations. Whatever your golden hours are is when you want to do your best. That's when you want to do your writing. And a whole other conversation that we can have at some other Theatermakers Studio event is if you have a survival job, I highly encourage you to do whatever you can to get your survival job outside of your golden hours so that you're not giving your best hours to the man. Your best hours for the thing you really want to be doing are yours, and you get to use them when you want. Make sure to add a research and outlining phase to your writing schedule when you've broken the thing down, which honestly might be as long as the schedule itself. So I try to, like I said, I try to write 1 musical every single year, and normally I try to give myself historically 4 to 6 months to write the first draft of the musical. But I also will add 4 to 6 months, yes, you heard me right, 4 to 6 months of research before I do any serious writing. And the research phase, I love. I can't talk about it enough. I think I actually did talk about it last time, so I won't go back into it. But do add a research phase if you possibly can. I also want to note that you can work on multiple projects at the same time, but I highly recommend that the projects themselves be at different stages. So I will write, I'll do the first draft of a musical in 1 year, but I'll be rewriting 2 or 3 other musicals at the exact same time. And in a whole other project, maybe a novel, I'm outlining it and researching it at the same time that I'm actually writing something else. Similarly, you can do multiple kinds of tasks in the same day, right? So for example, you might be reading, but again, don't do a lot of the same task every day. You might be reading what you wrote yesterday and reviewing it and editing it, while an hour later, you're going to write something new, right? While an hour later, you're going to notate that song, right? 3 completely different skills. Think of it like going to the gym. If you are working different muscle groups, you can do a bunch of stuff in one day. But if you're just using your biceps, you're going to get really tired really quickly, and it's not going to be all that effective. All right, circling the end here. I strongly advise you to set up a reward for yourself at the deadline, right? When you run that marathon, you want to know there's a lot of food and a cocktail and your spouse, hopefully, at the end of that finish line. And similarly, often people will make a deadline just before they leave for a vacation. This is a real thing because they know that they can't or won't work on the project for the week. And they also know that they will want to enjoy their vacation and not think about the thing that they have to finish, right? So whether you've got a vacation coming up or you choose to schedule one at the end of it, make that deadline right before you leave. Then you start packing, you go on your Tahiti vacation, you have a great time, and it feels like a little bit of a reward for everything you've made. I personally, because I'm not one to go to Tahiti all the time, I will always schedule a reading of my work, even if it's just at home, even if it's just a table reading or a Zoom reading or whatever, before I've even finished the thing. So if I'm a month out from my projected deadline, I will contact, a bunch of friends and say, come on over a month from today and we're going to read my play and I'm going to wine and dine you and spend tons of money, not tons, $100, $200 on food and drink to make them feel like they're not just, of course, giving their time for absolute free. These are your friends, though. They're safe people. They're people who care about you, who want to support you anyway. They become the reward at the end of it. And also, I will say, especially you probably have actor friends who are very talented, the excitement of knowing who you're writing for becomes, and knowing that they are going to hold you accountable because you've told them that you've set it up that you're going to write this great thing that they're going to read in a month. And then you don't want to be that person that writes to them a week ahead of time and says, I didn't do it. Right. So you're much more inclined to get it done if you know that someone is counting on you and waiting for it to happen. So there you have it. Here is our assignment. Our assignment is to take something you're writing or creating currently. You're going to break it into scenes and songs, or beats of action, pages, or time, whatever you want that to be. You're going to estimate or identify how quickly you can write. You're going to determine the writing phase or zone you're going to be writing in, whether that's starting tomorrow, or that's next summer, or November, or whatever. And then you're going to place all of the little elements of the thing that you're creating over this time period. You might even, if this seems overwhelming, start with just 4 weeks. What can you get done in 4 weeks? Establish it over 4 weeks. See if it works. If that works, then start scheduling it over 3 months, 12 weeks, right? And see how it goes. And don't forget to add a reward at the end of the deadline. That's what I got. Hooray, hooray, hooray.
Thank you. Thanks. That was really, really great because it is so important. And like the hardest thing to do.
That's right. It's stressful and it's annoying, and you just, it's, for some of us it provides great relief. For some others it's a little bit of stress, but you got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah, but even just the scheduling of it is stressful. Just when you think you have so many other things to do and you don't prioritize creating.
Yeah.
I did a play with Tanya Barfield. Do you know her?
I don't.
Okay. So anyway, she is really big in TV and film now as a writer. But when we did this, it was like a little play. And she also had a job at like NYU, because, when you're doing like off-Broadway theater, you're not making money.
No.
So she had a regular job. So she would get up at 6 a.m. just with that, because that was her only time to write. So she forced herself to get up, write, and then did her regular job, took her kids to school and everything. But that's kind of the dedication you have to do.
Or years will go by and you'll never get done the magical thing that you want to make.
Yeah, that's right. So there were a lot of questions in the comments.
Oh, no.
No. Like people like, but I have writer's block, things like that. And I know you're going over to the Zoom room.
Yeah.
So maybe if you have questions, go head over to the Zoom room and ask your questions to Ryan over there. Because I know you have a lot more to say too.
Always.
Oh, and what was that book again that you told us to read? The Disney one?
There's a couple, and that I'll give you. Creativity Inc. is the founding of Pixar. I also highly recommend On Writing by Stephen King.
I haven't.
And because you mentioned what you mentioned, Kerry, there's a book by Mason Curry called Daily Rituals. And he came out with a sequel because he called Daily Rituals for Female Creatives, which is just a book totally dedicated to creative people and their process all day, how they manage their lives and how they get the things done they want.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Absolutely.
And everybody, you can head over and ask Ryan more questions in the Zoom room.
Ooh.
And we're putting the link in the comments. So you can still join the Zoom room. Our next speaker is a creative branding strategist with his own company, Tony Howell and Company. He has built websites and helped theater makers build their brands over the last several years. Please join me in welcoming Tony Howell to the stage.
Whoosh! Hello, Kerry Butler.
Hello. How are you?
I'm well. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you. It's an honor to share the stage with you in RSO. So here we go.
All right. I'm excited to hear. I'm going to take notes.
Fantastic. For Mary backstage, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and hopefully you all can see that. Just interrupt me if you can't. But when they approached me to share something with you, I took a poll on my Instagram story of what you would want help with most. Authentically standing out for who you are, or to tell your story. Because I find that that's the work that I do most with theater makers, is helping them really figure out how they tell their own story and stand out from the competition. And this one that we are going to look at, making sure that we highlight what makes you special and different. And I'll share with you the process, a little bit of what I do with my private clients. So we are actually talking about that little thing called purpose today. Simon Sinek calls it your why. The Japanese call it your raison d'être. Correct me if I said it wrong. The Japanese call it ikigai. Spiritual people and artists, we call it our calling. And then Oprah calls it your intention. And I think as parents, it's like meaning. We are always looking for what gives our life meaning. But as we move forward in theater, I really feel like it's important to reconnect to purpose. And it is what I want to share with you today. I quickly want to go over the big picture with you. So when we are talking about this, there are 5 stages to look at. And this is all on my website for free. Business is really something to think about. I've heard a lot of people say, as we're moving forward, that they're reminded that it is a business, that they're having to take care of themselves. So I'm looking at you to tell you, you are the CEO of your own small business, and you have to act in that way. Branding is how we get other people to care. It is how we get people to notice you, and that's what we're going to zoom in on today. Your website is your home where you welcome people 24/7 and highlight your business and your brand. While they're there, ideally they get in touch to do business with you. And then social media is at the end of that. That's how we find your clients and customers, and we bring them into your business. So those are tech and business words, and I want to humanize them for you. Overall, I think business is your purpose. You became a writer, an actor, a singer, because you listened to that calling and said, this is what I'm meant to do with my life. How we get other people to invest in your business is what we're talking about today. It's sharing your humanity, what makes you different and special, and that they say, ooh, wow, that's really cool. Your website is a 24/7 showcase of who you are and the things that you have to offer the world. While they're there, email, I like to say it's also like the cash register for your business. That's where contracts, appointments, that's where day-to-day business is done. Even if it starts via text or DMs, email is where business gets done, and one email can change your life. And then social media is like the telephone. We can pick it up and receive information, and we can pick it up and share information. It's just really, really accelerated in today's world. So showing you this in the crazy woo-woo way that it is, you're a writer, you are an actor, because it is your calling, it is your higher purpose, it is why you are on this planet. How we get other people to care is through your throat chakra. It's how we express who you are, your creativity, and how we inspire them to connect with you. In your heart chakra is your home with hospitality, where you welcome people and say, thanks so much for stopping by. I just made this. Check it out. Enjoy it. Email, again, in the solar plexus, a place of power and determination and personality. That's where the messaging comes from. And then at the root chakra, a place of energy, stability, comfort, and safety, that's social media. So we can't leverage these tools until we know what the whole point is. And last time I spoke, I just want to highlight this. A lot of the stuff on the upper spectrum is about pull. like you are pulling people to you. And others, we're pushing messages out, like the digestive system. So with that, I also want to highlight that there is only one you. So what we're talking about today is branding, highlighting what makes you special. Big picture, again, is that you have a website. It doesn't have to be a large website, but it allows people around the world 24/7 to check out who you are and what you have to offer. While they're there, ideally, they contact you or your team, or they sign up to get updates on your career or your show or your podcast, whatever it might be. But we have all of these magical networks on the periphery. And the interesting thing is that your Instagram profile is a homepage. Your latest TikTok is like a blog that can bring someone into your world. So this is the big picture of what I teach and what I'm about, but we're really going to zoom in today on branding. And it starts with why. So I'm not taking credit for this. This is Simon Sinek's work, but I'm going to personalize it to you as a theater maker. In the chat, I can't see it, but I look forward to reading the comments. What do you do? Type in your answer. When someone asks you, what do you do? What do you say? Some of you will answer with one word: writer, director, actor, singer. Some of you will have all of that in one sentence. You are multi-hyphenates. But go ahead, if you haven't, type into the chat, even if you're watching the replay, type into the chat what it is that you do. With that in mind, my next question for you is, how are you different? What makes you different as a director? What makes you different as a writer? There are many writers, directors, actors, singers in the Theatermakers Studio. There are many pizza shops in the world. But why do you like that pizza shop instead of this pizza shop? And that's part of what we're going to zoom in on today, is how to make yourself stand out. The next question to unlock this is, why did you start? You don't have to type this in the chat. It's more for you. But ask yourself, why did you start writing? Why did you start teaching? Why did you start directing? And when you're answering that question, just like freshman year acting class, I want you to look for the verbs. I became an actor in order to inspire, to create, but find verbs that resonate with you. This gives you something to do, to show up to the world and to the World Wide Web with actions to take. So Simon Sinek says this is the golden circles, and that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. But we're going to go deeper than why you got started. And so I want you to keep questioning. Why do you want to entertain? Why do you want to inspire people? Why? For 8 years, I've been working with hundreds of creatives, and the through line for me is that we're all attempting to make change. It might start initially in our own life, but ideally, we are thinking larger than that and thinking about how we can change the world. Whoa! So my friend and client, Sherry Renee Scott, in her show said that you are a speck of dust, but the world belongs to you. There is such power in party of one, but often we can downplay it. So over here, you are that speck of dust. But I believe when you tap into your purpose or reconnect with why you got started, you begin to radiate. You find the time, like Ryan is talking about, to make the how of how it gets done. And it's not about trying to get 8 billion people to care. If we imagine the world is actually just filled with 8 billion electrons, branding is about attracting the right people to you. You are pulling them with your why and your how and making a relationship before they spiral out and carry on with their lives and their purpose. So Again, Simon in the business language says that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. I don't think you need to share your purpose with anyone. Your homework today is to articulate your verbs, to really dig and say, why did I become a director? Okay, but why that verb? Why? Because as a creative, you are the CEO. And so you are the visionary at the top. You may have people that help you figure out how, and they lead you into what you do. But the why becomes your megaphone. It's really speaking from the heart in my translation. It's really listening to that quiet voice and not only speaking, but acting from that place. From a business lens, if people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. How many people are aware of what you do? And are they engaged with you? But the conversion rate, which is 1 to 3% on the internet, it's the people that really care, that they are invested in the why. So what I would share with you is to really focus on the how, which is the next part of this conversation. It's really creating relationships. So the why is your internal compass, but the how allows you to highlight what makes you special and different and bring the right people to you. So you are the CEO. You're going to have people, you're the why. You're going to have people that help you with the how, managers, agents, publicists, and a team below you. Those of you that are writers in the room, here's a visionary, someone with a very clear why of stories that they want to tell. How those stories are told, take various genres, various mediums. Another great artist had an idea to write a musical about a fairy tale. Now it doesn't matter how the story is told or what form it takes, a junior version, a Broadway version, a film. When the why is clear, the how and the what can take many different forms. As artists, I think we tend to think that we can only be one thing, that we have to fit into a box. But when you are in tune with your why, what you do will take many different shapes. Beyonce is an example of that with Ivy Park and her music and her films. Lady Gaga is an example of that with her music, her films, her product line. So when we tap into the why, how we put ourselves out there and what we create can take many, many different shapes. To make this practical, I have one more slide, but first I'll share a quote from Mark Twain. The two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you found out why. So for a challenge about mind, body, and spirit, I just wanted to remind you to reconnect with purpose of why you do what you do. To help you authentically stand out, this is my final slide I just wanted to share with you. Ultimately, what we're after is a big production. We want to be part of the feature film, the TV show, the Broadway show, the New York Times best-selling author. Within that, there's a lot of different products that one has to create. Ryan talked about scenes and songs. So there's a lot of pieces that make up a larger bit of the bigger production. Within that, the way to stand out is to focus on your process, what makes you different, the people, etc. So if we start with why, what is your why? To get people to care, focus on how you show up, who you are as a person. Then look at the people that you surround yourself with. They are going to be a part of creating the process. A lot of people skip over this, whether it's sharing on social media. Share your process. Share the people. These are the ways that we get to the production these days. So the other thing I would highlight is watch yourself in the process, because if it's not enjoyable, then you don't get to the next production and the product. So thank you so much for having me. The homework, again, is to find your verbs. I have a little bit more to share in the VIP room, but I just want to remind you, if you are going to take care of yourself, be a business and follow that purpose as the CEO.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank
I took a
you.
lot of notes. I really needed to hear that. I need to get motivated. I'm a little bit all over the place in terms of like business, but I think that was really, really helpful for everybody. There are a lot of great comments out there, so thanks so much. And
good.
you can find Tony over in the Zoom room to answer any questions that you have. Thank you
Thanks for
so much.
having me. Good to meet you.
You too. While Tony is heading over to the Zoom room to answer your questions, let's assign some of homework. Okay, so break your project into smaller pieces, identify how quickly you write, how much time you have, and calendar your work towards a deadline. Reward yourself at the end. Homework will be posted in the Facebook group and pinned to the top of the page. Those who complete the homework before 12 p.m., you thought it was over, but those who complete your homework before 12 p.m. tomorrow will be still eligible for a giveaway. Day 5's giveaway, membership to Theatermakers Studio and final music notation license. You guys, I just saw Ken sneak backstage. So let's bring him on to say hi.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Kerry.
Hello, welcome back.
I keep this challenge going just so we can chat for a few minutes every day. It's just so fun to see. How's everything going? You learned a lot today from Tony Howell. He's a genius, is he not?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely, the whole week has been really motivating me.
Oh, good.
and making me see everything I'm doing wrong.
No,
No, I'm just
like I said
kidding.
yesterday, you're doing pretty well, and I know you do lots of different things, which is why we wanted you as a part of this. So once again, everybody, this is our goodbye, right, to you. This is it. So
Yes.
Everyone, blow up those comments right now with an enormous thank you to Kerry Butler for being here this week. We are so thankful and so lucky to have had her. Go check her out. Beetlejuice coming up in the spring. Yes.
I hope so. It's not official for me at all, but I'm so happy that the show is happening.
Yes. Okay, good disclaimer there. And what else you got? You got anything to plug? Anything we can pitch?
Our vacation. Well, no one can see that yet, but it's hilarious, and I'm excited to start that next week.
And you do coaching and things, right?
Yes. Kerry Butler Coach at Gmail. You can email me. I do have a website for my coaching, and I have a website. I feel like it should be better than it is, but I have done it. So I do have a website for coaching. And I'm gonna work after I've been motivated. I'm gonna make them better.
Awesome. Well, anyone interested, you get in touch with Kerry or get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with her and her incredible coaching. I've talked to a number of your students, and you're fantastic from what I hear. So thanks again for being here for this week. We couldn't have done it without you, and thanks for inspiring everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved it.
Bye, Kerry.
Bye.
Oh, there we go. We got kerrybutler.net in the chat to go check out Kerry's coaching. If you're looking for coaching in the performing arts, she's a fantastic coach and a fantastic person, and that's what we like to support. So go check that out. So listen, I wanted to jump back in as we wrap up this week, which frankly, I've been once again so inspired and so excited by all the energy in this room. And I was saying to my team, like, it really just doesn't feel like I don't want this to end. I don't want this to end. So here's what we're going to do. Yeah, I threw something else at them at the last minute and said, let's just add a little bit. We are going to add a bonus day to the challenge. A bonus day to the challenge tomorrow, Saturday, noon Eastern, with me. So I've gotten a lot of other questions and things, what I think about Broadway coming back and the shows and things, other hacks and simple tips and tricks that I'm using to try to juggle the 140 different shows I'm working on right now. I'll give you a little glimpse at them right over there. I keep pictures of all the shows I'm working on above my, yes, that's the famous whiteboard right there from my Instagram. Sorry if those quick camera work made you throw up. But I keep the logos for the shows or images from the shows I'm working on somewhere where I can see every day to remind me to work on them and also inspire me. There's a little tip right there. So people have been asking me for more stuff like that. So here's what we're going to do. Tomorrow, bonus day, noon, high noon Eastern, I am going to say goodbye to my wife and daughter for a little while, come back down to my office in Times Square where there will be matinees going on. I can't wait to see the streets filled with that matinee traffic. And we'll chat for a little bit, and I'll just take your questions, okay? So any questions you have, bring them. How to find a director, how to find a producer, what you can be doing right now, marketing tips, anything you need, anything you want. I'm going to be here for you tomorrow at noon for an hour, and we'll go through it. So join me here. The link will be the same, I think, but people more technologically advanced than I will let you know about that. There it is, Theatermakers Studio. We'll put it in there. So that's that. Noon tomorrow. Hope to see all of you there. Invite a friend. Get as many people as you want, as many theater makers as you want, because I will tell you, I was so inspired once again by Tony. And just so you know, Tony, like I'm about to launch a new website, kendavenport.com. Guess who designed it? Tony Howell. That's right. I trust my websites and my brand to Tony. He's fantastic. So I was just so inspired again by his Find Your Why. And I will tell you my why right now, which you've heard me say it before, and I will say it again. I believe the world is a better place if there is more theater in it. There is only more theater in it if there are people like you making it, right? My why is just that. I believe the world is a better place if there's more theater in it. It's what inspires me to not only make shows, but to help people like you make shows. That's it. Everything I do is about that. So that's why I'm going to spend tomorrow with you, coming up with any other tips or any other things that I can do to help you make more theater and better theater as we enter into the Renaissance here in 2021 and beyond. And lastly, I will mention this. I told you yesterday, do not buy a ticket to the Theatermakers Summit until we worked out some deal for you just for going through this challenge, for challenging yourself, for showing up every single day like you have. So that's what we've done. First of all, the Theatermakers Summit, this is our 5th year. Our 5th year. We started in the Playwrights Horizon Theater. There was like 140 of us or so. Anyone here at that first year of the Theatermakers Summit? It was called the Producers Perspective Pro Conference, Super Conference or something then. It has morphed. Last year we went from 140 first year, and our 4th year we had over 1,000 theater makers just like you. And this year we are expecting even more. Mary Dina, my producer, just slacked me. Super Conference. Ha! I remember that. So we had over 1,000 people last year. We are expecting more. It is our 5th anniversary this year. And we have such a cool lineup of speakers already. Expecting more than 100 of them. Some Sierra Boggess, David Corrins, Cody Renard, Richard, David Mertzlove, Stephen Broadnax, and just those names alone. Those names, if you think about some of those people, from Cody to Daniel, Sammy Canold, like we're really focusing on the people that are shaking it up, on the people that are rolling up their sleeves and getting ready for this Renaissance. They have a why, and they are going to share with you how they got to where they are today and what they're doing to push themselves and to push Broadway and the theater in general into the new and the next generation and the next 10, 20, and 100 years. The industry is changing, thank goodness, in many, many, many ways, creating more opportunities for more people like you. And if you look at all those speakers, you'll see that that was part of our mission. Find the people that are really doing the work and shaking it up, not caring what other people think, and just going for it. People who, some of them whose names you didn't know a year ago. Daniel Mertzlove, right? Be composing Ratatouille, the musical, on TikTok and becoming a sensation as a result. So all of these people that, again, maybe you didn't know and now you do, they're going to tell you how they got to be known. So here's what we're doing for you. The summit virtually this year. It's virtual again. We just involve more people that way. November 6th and 7th, and a bonus day on the 8th. So here's what we've done for you. The prices go up the closer it gets to the actual date. I believe they're $397 right now and about to go up at the end of the month. we are going to roll it back for you. Just because you've gone through this process, we're going to roll it back for you to $297. You have to use a specific code, though. They're going to put it in the summit, the chat. Use code PLACES. Use code PLACES. Okay, you'll save $100 and get this. We're going to throw in the bonus day for free. Okay, with each summit ticket, you're also going to donate. We're going to donate money on your behalf to Broadway Bridges, which will buy a ticket to send a New York City public school student to see a Broadway show. I want to help develop the audience of the future, and you're going to help us do that when you get your ticket to the Theatermakers Summit. Okay, code PLACES, theatermakersummit.com. The link is in there. Go grab it. This is our way of thanking you for being here, for showing up, for being committed to yourself, for being committed to the theater, for getting through the last crazy year. And for being excited about the future, because I, as you can tell, am very excited about the future. Grab a ticket, and then tomorrow I will be here just for you. An hour, noon, Saturday, high noon, Eastern time, me, you, and any other theater makers you know, answering your questions live. I so look forward to it. Thank you so much for being a part of this challenge. Go do your homework right away. Your future depends on it. See you, everybody.
It's the Theatermakers Challenge. Places, please. Places, please. Places, please.